Item Number SCP-1176. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-1176 is to be kept within the sarcophagus it was recovered in, fully submerged in SCP-11761, in a secure, climate-controlled observation room at Site-73. SCP-1176 is not to be removed from SCP-11761 for any period of time longer than is necessary to conduct essential research or replace monitoring equipment, in no case exceeding 6 hours. SCP-1176 is to be monitored by EG at all times when not fully submerged in SCP-11761 for any sudden changes in brain activity. Any unexpected changes in SCP-11761 production are to be noted. Excess SCP-11761 is to be drained from the sarcophagus using the attached faucet, once per day or, as necessary to prevent overflow, and is to be destroyed or sent for testing immediately. SCP-11761 is to be transported and stored in vessels clearly indicating that it is not a food product and is inedible. SCP-11761 is not to be consumed by any incompatible person except for testing purposes. All requests to issue SCP-11761 as an emergency field ration are preemptively denied, regardless of individual compatibility, pending a full Ethics Committee review. Description: SCP-1176 is the mummified corpse of a human male, presumed to have been approximately 35 years of age at the time of death. Severe tissue degradation has made DNA examination of SCP-1176 impossible. Based on contextual evidence, SCP-1176 is assumed to have been of Arabian ancestry and to have died in the 10th–11th century AD. SCP-1176 is clinically dead and does not display any indications of respiration, circulation, or metabolism. SCP-1176's brain, which is largely intact in spite of general tissue degradation, exhibits a constant level of electrical activity consistent with Stage 3 non-rapid eye movement sleep. In the place of all bodily fluids that would be found in a living human being, SCP-1176 contains a fluid of viscous consistency and golden color, designated SCP-11761. Testing of SCP-11761 has found it to be chemically identical to clover honey produced by the Anatolian honeybee, Apis mellifera anatolica. SCP-11761 is exuded from SCP-1176's pores at a variable rate depending on environmental conditions. When kept fully or mostly submerged, as it typically is when stored within its sarcophagus, rate of SCP-11761 production is approximately 0.2 liters per hour. When it is not submerged, production increases exponentially over time. See Incident 11761 log. The quantity of SCP-11761 contained within SCP-1176 itself has not been documented to increase or decrease at any time, regardless of the rate of production. SCP-11761 has been determined to be edible by human beings possessing an OG+ blood type, and possesses properties consistent with a highly concentrated nutritional supplement. A dose of SCP-1176 15 ml in volume contains approximately 2,500 cal and significant quantities of essential vitamins and nutrients, making it highly effective as an emergency ration or staple foodstuff. Tests conducted on D-Class personnel indicate that SCP-11761 consumption by compatible persons is effective in preventing physical sensations of hunger for 14 to 18 hours after consumption and bears no long-term side effects. Persons of a non-OG+ blood type, upon consuming any amount of SCP-11761 greater than 0.5 ml, begin exhibiting symptoms of a severe allergic reaction within 4 to 10 hours of consumption. Acute hemolysis, followed by renal failure and death, has occurred in 98.7% of all tests, where an incompatible person was fed SCP-11761. Symptoms of SCP-11761 consumption among incompatible test subjects are consistent with symptoms of persons given blood transfusions of a type incompatible with their body chemistry. At the time of its recovery, SCP-1176 was stored within a stone sarcophagus of late Hellenistic style. The lid, sides, and interior of the sarcophagus are inscribed with texts in late Egyptian hieroglyphics, largely consisting of ceremonial texts and spells regarding the protection of the person entombed within, and hagiographic descriptions of various gods, and an extinct and thus far untranslated dialect of Proto-Arabic. In a large section at the foot of the coffin, the original inscriptions have been obliterated and replaced with 2 separate inscriptions in Classical Arabic. See addendum for translation. A hole has been drilled into the sarcophagus near one end, into which a copper pipe and a spigot has been fitted. It is hypothesized that the spigot was installed within the last 100 years by the persons previously in possession of SCP-1176 for the purpose of facilitating the removal of SCP-11761 from the sarcophagus. The sarcophagus itself possesses no anomalous properties. SCP-1176 was acquired by the Foundation in 1985, following a raid on a facility in Asmara, Eritrea, then Ethiopia, owned by the Mana Charitable Foundation. Foundation assets in the region had identified the facility as the source of shipments of honey which had been widely distributed to famine-stricken regions of Ethiopia, resulting in the deaths of approximately civilians from symptoms resembling acute hemolysis. How the MCF came into possession of SCP-1176 has not been determined to date. Incident 11761 on redacted. An experiment was conducted to determine the upward limits of the rate at which SCP-11761 can be produced. SCP-1176 was removed from its sarcophagus and placed upon a graded surface designed to drain all SCP-11761 produced away rather than allowing it to accumulate. After increasing to a rate of 1.2 liters per hour after the first hour, the rate at which production accelerated continued to increase by approximately 1 liter per hour, reaching a production of approximately 55.7 liters per hour. After approximately 10.5 hours, a sudden spike in brain activity was detected and SCP-1176 became conscious. SCP-1176 opened its eyelids and began flailing wildly and attempting to engage in distressed vocalizations, and attempted to crawl towards one of the walls of the test chamber. Due to the atrophied state of its internal organs and musculature, it is speculated that SCP-1176 was unable to see or derive any meaningful sensory data from its environment during this period, and was unable to speak coherently due to the degradation of its tongue and palate. As the staff were concerned that SCP-1176's movements would damage itself, 4 junior research personnel were instructed to manually restrain SCP-1176 and sedate it. During the attempt, SCP-1176 jerked its left arm violently, resulting in its hand being severed at the wrist. After attempts to sedate SCP-1176 using gas and intramuscular injection were unsuccessful, research personnel were instructed to return SCP-1176 to its sarcophagus and set the lid in place. SCP-1176 was heard continuing to vocalize, and to strike the interior of the sarcophagus with its limbs and head, for approximately 3 hours, after which time it ceased activity and returned to its previous state. Subsequent examination has detected multiple bone fractures induced during SCP-1176's period of activity, as well as several previously unnoted fractures speculated to have been caused by an earlier such state. SCP-1176's severed hand has continued to exude SCP-11761 at rates commensurate with the rest of the specimen and is currently being contained separately for further research.